this leads to the way that we usually interact with parts in the world. And so when we become enmeshed, there's two principal ways that we interact with parts. So we act out and we resist. And so acting out is what we talked about with grounding, that hulking out. That is what happens when we act out. So when we're enmeshed, some part has taken over this, the seat of our consciousness, and we feel like we are that part. So, you know, when we're hulking out, we feel like we are the Hulk and we're no longer ourselves. And we feel like we are the emotion that's overcome us. So acting out then is unconsciously surrendering to the possessive power of the movement's energy and demands. So we seethe sometimes, or we play internal monologues over and over, or we attack others and fume. It's these kind of active acting out responses. And so unconsciously acting out is a state of being enslaved to the interior movement that's taking over the driver's seat of our souls. Then the second part is resistance, or the second way that we usually interact with our parts and interact in the world. And so resistance is when is subjugating our reactivity or repelling it by sheer force of will. So I'm not really upset, right? I teach spiritual formation. I'm not angry. I don't feel this way. And then really trying to suppress it. Or we berate ourselves for not being more spiritually evolved, or we minimize our feelings and shrug them off. I don't really feel this way. That's not really happening. And so resistance is a way of fighting the initial interior movement. And it's rooted in shame and self-judgment or discomfort because of the movement's existence within us. We feel like we shouldn't feel that way to begin with. And so we try and resist it. And so a helpful metaphor for this is to think of a buoy in the water and trying to push that buoy underwater. That you may be able to get it underwater and push it down and hold it there, but it takes an immense amount of energy to keep it there. And so trying to suppress a part like that takes an incredible amount of energy, eventually will fatigue, and that part is just going to pop back up. And it's usually, when it pops up, it usually comes back with a lot more force. And can cause a lot more havoc in our lives. And so resistance then is enmeshment, but not in the initial interior movement itself, but in the repelling energy that resists the initial interior movement. And so when we are enmeshed in these ways, after we're grounded,